Damien, it always amazes me the placards up there. They are so on point every single week.
Every week.
Look at that. What is it? Safer workplaces for all. What else is there? Remove councils from error. How do they do it?
Word art, I think, probably.
All right. Okay. All right. It was quite interesting because in terms of workplace, in terms of home place, a friend of mine actually had a shocker of an accident where he put up the ladder, forgot to put the sort of connecting bits and slam in hospital for about a couple of weeks. So it can happen very easily.
It can. We've got a few, specific dangers in our workplace, haven't we? Most involved behind the bar, but
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How safe is your work? Around 73 people die every year at work and 1 in 10 are injured. These are pretty shocking statistics. I want to go to Barbara Kuraga, Taranaki National. Should we be ashamed of our workplace statistics in New Zealand?
Look, we need to do better. And that's why we're actually trying to make reform the Act so we can make it simpler and actually get good processes in place. And
it's been 5 years since the 29 men were killed at Pipe River 2010. Why is it taking so long?
Yeah, look, it's about getting it right. There's so many what-if scenarios, and it's about actually putting culture in the workplaces. It's not about scaring people into tactics that make them do stuff.
That sounds
and
very,
putting
very
huge compliance. No, it's not. It's about building a culture. Nobody wants anyone to go to work and come home in the not come home in the evening. So we've got to make sure that people are thinking for themselves about how safe their workplaces are.
Let's jump to Richard on the other end. I'll come to you guys first. What do you think about this?
Well, look, 5 years since Pike River, it's quite a poignant moment. But the thing about that was that there was a collapse of a number of things at Pike River. Yes, there's a culture of she'll be right in New Zealand, but we had an industry that was left to look after itself. You had professionals who knew what best practice was and didn't follow it because they weren't required to by the law. We also had a government that cut the mines inspectorate down from 80-odd people to 2 inspectors for the entire country. So look, you can't say we've got to change the culture if the government's not prepared to get in behind with the resourcing to make sure that the rules that are there are enforced.
What about the balance, Marama, between red tape and workplace safety? The New Zealand initiative says that extra workplace work safe practices would add $100 million a year to the cost of housing because of all that red tape.
Well, what's the cost that you put on someone's life?
Exactly.
What's the cost that you put on a parent not coming home to their children? You can't weigh something up and always go for the profit margin to be the winner on the day. We can't keep doing that in this country. We need to have a social responsibility from our employers, and we need to look after our people. Fundamentally, that must come first.
All right, Labour, Subaroni.
Yeah, look, you asked why it's taken so long. It's a very good question. I said before that 100 years ago, the Labour Party was founded by miners who were facing unsafe conditions underground. And 100 years later, the National Party's taken us back there. They are going to back the worst employers, the minority of employers who have a view that their employees are worthless. And that's who they're going to back through the Health and Safety Reform Bill.
That is not true.
Well, we're going to see it in the next few days. I confidently predict it.
That is not true.
Here first.
You actually need legislation in place so that you can take care of those worst employers. What you don't want to do is actually strangle every business with compliance
that old
stuff.
chestnut. Same old chestnut.
All right, then.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have put, a lot of businesses have put a huge amount of practice in place.
Go to audience.
Can I tell you another reason why it's taken longer than it needed to? The National Party couldn't agree with each other about it. So they actually put this bill off for a month while they got their act together.
Okay, then around the panel, before I go to Damien, corporate manslaughter. Should corporate manslaughter be included in this law? Richard Prosser.
There's a lot of things that should be included in this law that aren't.
Just a yes or
well,
no.
look, we've come out and we're actually opposing this bill because there are so many loose ends, because there are so many unintended consequences that need to come through.
So is that a no? Corporate manslaughter?
No, corporate manslaughter needs to be taken care of.
Okay, all right. Marama Fox.
Yes, and we are supporting it because actually we think it's better than the status quo.
Sumaroni?
Yes, and Andrew Little has a members' bill in the ballot that does exactly
All right,
that.
and Barbara?
Yeah, look, we're still working through those.
Just a yes or no?
We're still working through those last details. But I tell you what,
That's a no.
we're
All right,
not going to
Damien
get
Christie.
best practice by fining people.
All right, well, do we have any corporate manslaughter? So that's where a company can be charged with causing the death of someone. Is that what that is, Wallace? Just to explain it? Yeah, okay, good. Any lawyers in the audience? Any lawyers around? Oh, are you a lawyer, sir?
Oh, yes.
What do you think, corporate manslaughter? Have you heard about it before?
Yes, I have.
And what do you think?
Well, in appropriate circumstances, yes.
Because at the moment, what's the story?
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure.
That's all right. We put you on the spot. We haven't paid you. So do you think that at the moment, it's from what you understand, if a company can't be charged because you charge the individuals or you can do them under the labour laws, you think we need to toughen up on that? I'm not going to put you on the spot. What's the biggest workplace danger for a lawyer?
Clients.
Clients. Sir, are you a lawyer as well?
I'm not a lawyer, no, but I'm an employer. So I think you've got to be very careful here. Back when somebody is either negligent or they actually create a circumstance where somebody loses their life, then certainly they should be in a position to suffer the consequences. So if there's a negligence or a deliberate oversight, then they should be. Other than that, the person in charge of Air New Zealand and an aeroplane crashes, there's no way they should be held responsible. They cannot influence that directly.
Actually, it's funny. I was on a plane today and they said to me, will you be willing to assist in the event of an emergency? I said, can we just agree that we won't crash? That would be much, much better. Wallace, back to you.
What about in Parliament? What about parliamentary offices? I mean, in terms of workplace safety, what's the biggest liability for workplace safety in Parliament, Richard?
Probably earthquakes, truth be known.
Really?
No, not at all. It's
Marama?
breaching secrets.
Breaching
not keeping your emails safe. You do that stuff, you're gone. Burger. See you later.
What about for you? What's the biggest liability for workplace safety in your office?
Probably workplace stress, actually. There's a lot of pressure on our staff. And in fact, for my staff back in Hamilton, they are the face of the Labour Party when I'm not there. And
So do they get really angry clients coming in or angry customers? Or?
They get people who have tried to get some support from the national MPs and end up on my doorstep
Oh,
and they
come
can't get
on.
it.
No,
That's seriously what happens.
I know my colleague
They're
and you're
pretty angry by the
he's
time they
better
get
than
there, I
that.
can tell you.
Yeah, and I get the same from
Tim's
both
a good
parties.
guy.
And do you get angry people coming over from the Labour or whatever?
Look,
Yes.
I don't have too many Labour people in my electorate,
Well, okay,
but
all right.